Yeah.
So, is that a goose I could hear?
Yeah, it's about 7 of them just flying from one end of the lake to the other.
Do you shoot them for dinner?
Bastards. No, there's millions of them though.
Listening to Tales from the Tackle Shop. My name's Andy Page, and somewhere out in the wilderness is my co-host Alex Bates.
Good evening, mate. You alright?
Yeah, I'm a bit jealous of you.
Well, I'm doing it for work purposes. Got to be on site and the perfect place to self-isolate. Hey.
Yeah, if listeners listen very carefully, every now and again you'll hear a honk of a goose or of a wildlife
a few
chirping
fish splashing about. Yeah.
Oh, you tease.
I'm not fishing. I'm just feeding them at the minute. They're everywhere, as far as you can see, especially on Magpie. It's been beautiful again this afternoon, and well, you wouldn't need a bridge, put it that way, to get to the island. There's that many sunning themselves and hopping about, and the last sort of week they've been cleaning themselves up, so they're obviously waking up a little bit, and the water's colouring up, so they're obviously looking for a bit of food. And yeah, it's just a shame I can't get them really, but
So has that been your routine, hasn't it? Most days you get all the online orders and eBay orders sorted, and then you have a little stroll in the lake.
Yeah, so I get them nice and early and get as many of them picked, and then get them all out to the post office for sort of 12:30, 1 o'clock. Then come back and have a bit of lunch around the lake, just so I'm out of the shop for half hour, and then back in the shop doing eBay orders and bits and bobs and telephone orders, which has been brilliant. I've been really lucky in the fact that because everyone's been off, they've been sorting their gear out, so I can't moan in that sense. It's been weird in a way not to deal with customers face to face, and bait sales and things like that have been non-existent, but for your little nicky-nacky bits, that some stuff that hasn't sold for a while, some people use it, and obviously not everywhere's open, and turning a bit of stock over. So it's some of the boards, like the Preston board is a bit bare at the minute, like line, stots and elastics and anything that people can sort of renew and change and upgrade, they have been. So, and because they're not open, I can't restock at the minute. So when they do open, I'm going to have a lot of days where I'll be pricing up and putting back on the shelves. But no, it's all good in that sense. But as long as we're all staying safe and doing the right things, that's all that matters, really.
Yeah, it is. And I suppose that's quite, from a retailer's point of view, you're getting rid of stock. Sounds like the wrong way, but you're getting
turning over
stock that you wouldn't normally do in such great volume. So I suppose that's a bonus to what's going on. Just for everyone that's listening, what we've decided to do is actually call this the final podcast for this season.
Yeah.
We kind of made a decision weeks ago that we were only going to run into April anyway, and the litter pick was going to be our final hurrah, so to speak. But obviously that didn't happen, and because of the COVID outbreak, we decided to keep persevering with the podcasts. But I think we've come to a natural end, really, Alex, haven't we? With doing
definitely,
this.
Yeah.
So what we're planning to do is just do a little kind of review of our season in the podcast tonight, and then we will pick up the podcast again in September. And one of the things I was thinking about, Alex, is it'd be quite interesting as we're talking just to come up with a couple of questions we could kind of leave open, which hopefully in September we might be able to answer. So things like, when will we start fishing again? What's going to be the knock-on effect of all this? It'd be like a little time capsule.
I've got a funny feeling June the 16th won't be a far guess. I don't know. I've just got this feeling that that'll be when possibly we're let out, as they say, and maybe we'll be. I don't know, but that's what I've got in my head. Start of June is when things might be getting back to normal again.
Oh, do you know what? I like looking at. Must be a bit geekish. I like looking at data and all the stats from different countries and looking at these curves and that they produce with how it's going, and you try and make a little prediction, don't you? So
Yeah.
I've been looking at everything, and it's no one knows. It's really weird. With lots of things in our lifetime, when something happens, we know when it will end, or we know when
Yeah.
we'll be able to do
We're in
X.
control of it, aren't
In
we?
control. With this, have got absolutely no idea, and it's a worrying thing, but it's also an interesting thing. Nobody's got no idea.
No. It's weird, isn't it? It's the unknown.
It is the unknown. It's a very, very strange thing. But yeah, if we leave ourselves with one or two kind of open-ended questions, I thought it would be good for nothing else. When we do the first podcast in September, the season 2. God, it sounds a bit posh, like we're going into seasons. But we'll do season 2. I think we should nip back and just listen to this one, because we have forgotten about lots of the stuff, hopefully. Hopefully we're not still in lockdown, because that would be a disaster. But we can look back and just go, yeah, we never thought that, and that. I don't know. I'm sure these questions will occur naturally over the next 20 minutes or so. So we don't have to sort of plan it out. While we're talking about the podcast, I think we just need to thank all the people that have tuned in throughout this year. And Alex doesn't really know this because I've only just told him this about 5 minutes ago, but I was looking at the stats, and we've managed to bore you over 10,000 times, which is incredible. So we've had, I think we've had way over 10, when I last looked, over 10,200 downloads, which is brilliant. And we've been heard in way over 20 countries. So thank you for everybody for tuning in and listening to the podcast. That's been great.
I think when you look at it, it's quite nichey in what we've covered as well. With your pike fishing, and then with me more natural venues in the fens. It is more sort of specific, isn't it? It's to what fishing we do, whereas other things might be a lot more than that, but they're probably covering different topics, aren't they?
Well, yeah, I suppose, I don't know about you, but it's become part of my life with you coming around on Monday nights and we're doing the podcast, and I've really enjoyed it, and all the different guests we've had on. But we're going to really struggle to have any relevant content talking about stuff that we're not interested in. So I suppose we've had to make it a bit of a niche thing.
Yeah.
However, I think we were talking about this certainly a couple of months ago, about we were looking to branch out a little bit. So if people have got any ideas they'd like to hear about, or people they'd like to have on, if you message us, we'll try and get in touch with them over the next few months. And I can't think of one person that's actually refused. It's been interesting. Everyone who we've asked to be on has gladly accepted straight away.
Yeah.
Which has been good, isn't it? So I mean, even Jamie
when we first started, people were a bit unsure what it was all about and stuff like that. And I think since we've been doing the podcast, podcasts have got a lot more popular in general anyway, haven't they?
Mate, did you know what we were doing when we first started?
No, exactly.
I didn't have a clue. Even with the IT side, I thought, I don't know how this is going to work at all. We did the first week, didn't we, on the phone? Yeah. And then we had Mark Pollard on. You managed to get Polly on straight away, which was a great start. And if you remember, we had I got you to phone him, and then you to phone me on the same phone conversation. And I was sitting in my kitchen thinking, I'm not even sure if this is recording.
Yeah.
So it was like,
it's having the confidence, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't know what we were doing, and he was brilliant. And I thought, after that first one, or I should say the second one, which was the first one with a guest, I actually sat there and thought, this is going to work. This is going to be really quite good fun to do, because logistically, even if we have to just use the phones, we can produce something each week. That won't be an onerous task. So that was, I think for me, that was the starting point when I realised, this might actually work. And also, I've only listened to one podcast before ever, and that was the one that I did in America. And it was a bit like, why would anybody listen to this nonsense? But you're right. Since I've been doing them, I've got several subscriptions to different types of podcasts, and it's actually quite relaxing just to listen to different. I don't know. I listen to a rugby one. I listen to another fishing one.
I listened to the rugby one. Yeah.
It's really, really good fun, and you can just zone out, can't you, and listen to someone else rambling on that nonsense. Cool. Right, Alex. So you've been busy doing your online orders. Have you
Yeah.
been doing much work around the fishery? Have you been too busy in the shop?
So I've been in the shop, and Dad's been out and about doing the fishery maintenance, trimming and cutting back and making the place look pretty. And then yesterday, Monday, we got the orders done, got in early and got them out of the way. And we've got a few stock ponds on the fishery that needed sort of having a look at. And we netted one of them, and we were quite impressed, really. We try and produce all our own fish because fish aren't cheap, you know. When a carp to buy is probably £5 a pound at the cheapest, and with the volumes of fish that we have to stock, it's just a lot of money. And obviously fish die. You have to replace stock. They die of all sorts of things, and mostly they don't live forever. So you know, you've got to think these lakes have been here 20 years now, and you have to think about the future of the fishery. And each year we it's quite simple, really. We just put some nets in when they're spawning, and got quite a lot of willow trees which are close to the lake, like right on the water edge, so the roots tend to sort of go everywhere, which some anglers might say that you know, it's disadvantage and snaggy, but for us, the fish love to spawn against them because they're like soft brushes. So when they're spawning, we just get in with waders and cut all the roots away, put them in buckets, and then take them to our stock ponds, and then let nature take its course, really. I mean, there's very scientific ways and more productive ways, I would say, but we found that way the fish just do the business, and everything's so natural, and you tend to get healthier fish. So
That's incredible, really, that you've actually discovered that in your own fishery.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just what the fish do, isn't it? The fish we've got here are particularly, well, they're unique. A lot of them are ghosties. Even the commons you think is a ghost, is a normal common, and then you look on its head and it's got like a ghosty crown, and they are really stunning fish. So we thought, well, you know, if we can produce fish ourselves, and in the long run, it can only be good for the fishery. So yesterday we netted stock pond 1, which had a mixture of fish in. There was some fish in there that were left from last year, so we were hoping they were obviously going to grow on, so they'll be slightly bigger. And then there was some fish, well, some spawn and that we put in, and basically we got probably 300 fish that were all over £1.50. Mostly little mirrors, a few commons in there, because obviously the strain we got here, most of them are commons and ghosties with a few mirrors mixed in. But we did buy some small fish 2 years ago, and I think they were what were left of those. And then the pleasing thing was we probably had well over 1,000 3 to 4 inch size fish, which they're now in another pond where they'll grow on a bit until they get sort of pound size, and then we can put them into the lakes. And then the pond that we netted, that was drained down completely. That'll be filled halfway up, and then we'll put some cow droppings and manure in there and get the Daphnia going. And then when the fish spawn, that's what the fry eat, and that's the critical stage. The more Daphnia and that there is in there for them to eat, the quicker they'll grow.
Wow, it sounds, I don't wish to be rude, it sounds very Heath Robinson, but it's not. It's actually, you know exactly what you're doing, you know what works.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't got time to do, you know, we're not the environment agency at their place there, I can't remember what it's called now, Colvin, and, you know, that's what they do and produce thousands and thousands and thousands of fish. We, you know, we just naturally do it, and that's why probably the fish that we've got are probably only 4 inches a season and a bit old. So whereas fish farmers will probably get them 4 inches within probably 6 or 7 months of them being an egg. But it's like anything, if you rush it, but you know, they don't, like different strains of carp, they get big too quick and they don't probably live that long. Whereas, you know, gradually through that process, hopefully they'll live longer in the long term. But who knows? That's the idea anyway.
Well, it seems to make sense because you're not stressing the fish at an early age. It's getting a good foothold, so to speak,
Yeah,
and growing at its own pace. I've got a couple of questions. Well, I've got a statement and a question. My statement is that actually doing your own breeding has got to be a brilliant way of avoiding contamination of your stock.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, there's a lot said about KHV and obviously net dipping and things like that, which that's why we insist on dipping your nets and laying the nets out to dry, and then 15 minutes before the match starts, you put the nets in. Obviously, we're trying to eliminate that there, but the most common way of KHV is obviously off other fish. I mean, KHV is quite topical, really, because obviously we're going through COVID-19, which is a virus, and KHV is a virus, but to fish. And basically, the way KHV works is the same way as this COVID is working. So the older fish or the more stressed fish catch it, and some get over it, some of them don't. And some are immune to it. And it's exactly the same with COVID-19. So it's basically what's happened with KHV is what's happening with humans. So
wow, that's actually didn't realise that, and it's quite topical. But yeah, I suppose at the end of the day, we are animals, and we react the same way. Yeah.
And in a weird way, the more venues that get it and get over it, the fish that are left in there are immune to it, and that's essentially what we're trying to do, or what everyone's trying to do here with the COVID-19. So,
yeah. Wow, didn't know about that. It's very ironic. Second, my question to you, Alex, is how do you avoid or stop predation on your valuable stocks of the fry and the smaller fish from herons, cormorants, otters, and so forth?
Yeah, so the stock ponds they're not massive. They're purposely built for that, and they are about 14 metres by 20 metres, and they're about 6 foot deep. Probably a bit shallower than that now. They've sealed it up a little bit, but we've got some scaffold poled all the way around with a netting that goes across.
Yeah.
So, and that's probably 2 foot off the ground. So it's pretty difficult for predators to get in. The only ones we can't really stop are obviously mink and otters. Not that we've seen any.
That's pretty cool that you actually breed your own stock on site and can control the predation of them as well. And
Yeah.
yeah, that is good because also you can have a very healthy stock of carp for years to come because they're basically in the waters they were spawned in, and you're controlling as much as you can the transfer of diseases as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is good stuff. Oh God! So you've not just been busy doing the tackle shop, you've been busy helping Dad out as well, and and keeping things ticking over. Oh, it's great. Okay, let's go back to let's start this review of the year then, Alex. So, I think this is episode 27. So we've had quite a few guests on. Yeah, I know. It's like, whew, how many have we done? And I think that in one respect is a sign that we found this really enjoyable, and also people have enjoyed listening to us. That we felt it's worth persevering. Let's go back through the year. So obviously we started off with Polly. And then we got Kai on straight away afterwards, and that was great to hear, from an environment agency point of view. Yeah. And from my own personal perspective, ever since then, because we've had that contact with Kai, he's been brilliant because I keep in contact with him fairly regularly. And you don't know people until you actually get to meet them a bit better. And he has been great, just offering to do things all the time and help out and, putting himself out. So having Kai on was brilliant because it gave us an insight to what our area of the environment agency do, but also how committed they are to their role. So that was an eye opener for me, and hopefully for some of the listeners as well. We had Andy Field on with the float making, and then do you remember who we had on?
Special guest.
Well, that was all your fault.
Well, I did say he'd be the best one, didn't I? I said we've got to get him on. It was awesome, wasn't it? I enjoyed God knows how many hours we were there listening to all the stories. It was brilliant, even though I'd heard them all about twice or if not 3 times before. But yeah, it was good catching up with Spolt, and again, interesting to learn about what's going underneath the water. Something that you can't really see, isn't it? So yeah, it was. I think it was my favourite one to do, definitely, and the feedback that I've had from people, everyone says, "Oh, I enjoyed the Eelman episode." So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, everyone seems to remember the eel. That's what they call them, the Eelman episodes. So I think it. Do you remember how? Well, do you remember how long he was at my house for?
Yeah, ages.
I think it was 3 3/4 hours.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, and he told me he got home and his wife said, "Where have you been?"
Yeah.
And he said, "I've been at Andy's." She went, "Doing what?" And he went, "Talking."
Yeah.
Oh,
He's brilliant. He's
talking.
brilliant.
Yeah. I've missed out the March Open. I enjoyed doing that one as well. That was really good
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, going back to using the equipment, really haven't got a clue with what I'm doing with any of it. So that was funny because for those that weren't there, I was basically just wandering up and down the bank with the voice recorder on a selfie stick and just shoving it under anybody's nose who was nearby to say something. And it actually came across really well, I felt. It was really good fun doing that.
Yeah, you got that match atmosphere, didn't you, and banter between, it was good. It was good.
Yeah. Then we did a few reviews ourselves. Of course, we had Jimmy on from Sweden over Christmas.
That's good, yeah.
So that was. Oh, I tell you what, we missed out was our first live.
Well, yeah, that was a strange one, wasn't it?
Well, why we ever decided?
That was when our particularly mine, our technology experience showed, didn't it?
Yeah. Why did we ever decide to go fishing that day? Because it was virtually a hurricane in the first place.
It was horrendous, wasn't it?
Let alone trying to talk through microphones.
It was funny, wasn't it?
It was funny, but it's a lesson learned. I mean, not to do that again. But I think this is what's been the one of the best things this year doing this is you have to learn very quickly by your mistakes and just shrug your shoulders. Cheesy Bob.
Yeah, that was a good one, wasn't it? It was interesting to learn, the history of March, and obviously I've lived in March all my life, but he's lived in March a lot longer than I have, and it's interesting.
Oh, that was great, and I didn't know Bob that well beforehand, and it was lovely just listening to him. And he had like Spolt, he's got such a wealth of knowledge of the area, and he was remembering, wasn't he, straight off the top of his head, all these things that happened such a long time ago.
Yeah, got a brilliant memory.
Yeah, he has. Yeah. Tom Scully, that was great to make a connection with him.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know him a lot better than I do, but just that evening, that was really cool to have him. Even though he did poison us.
He didn't, I reckon,
I reckon he might be responsible for this pandemic.
Possibly, yeah.
If you think back, I think he actually brought it in to Fenland from wherever he had come from, like up north.
Sheffield, love.
Well, yeah, up there somewhere. Yeah. He poisoned us with something because I was so ill for a week afterwards. I'd like to blame a curry or too many pints of beer, but the curry was nice, and I think I had 1 pint of beer.
Beer was even better, wasn't it?
Oh, so we got poisoned by Tom Scully, and also, do you remember the Swan incident?
Yeah. Some lady, decided to have a go at us for no reason. Well, was it? Oh, are you going to help that swan?
Well, I think I took the brunt of her force.
Yeah.
She obviously saw me as being the elder gentleman, the more knowledgeable person, and thought she'd give me a right seeing to. About the state of the swan that was obviously about to die because it was sitting on a slipway, and managed to swim off about 2 minutes later. But that was funny. Then, of course, my buddy Dennis Miles, he was great, and I had a lovely afternoon stroke evening talking to him. So I think some of these guests we can redo next year, and they can tell us what they've been up to over the following year. But also they could, they've got so many tales, they could tell us more and more things. Because Dennis is a bit like Spolt; he's got so many things up his sleeve, and he's been involved in so many things in the past that it wouldn't be going over old ground to get them back on. Because with Dennis, we didn't even mention him being the chairman of the Pike Anglers Club. So I mean,
Yeah.
that is mad. We completely missed that bit out, basically because we were running out of time and we had to get to Bottisham for this Fendon Pike Initiative talk. So, excuse me. With these guests, there's so much more we could cover, and also it'd be great to have one or two of them back on again. Yeah, and then we did lots of other things. We had Jamie Cook on, which was a really big scoop for us, so that was great, and that was horrendous trying to record that because of the phone line. And then, of course, last week we had my buddy Eric Edwards on.
Yeah.
And Eric is brilliant. My man's just texted me and said, best one I've heard. He said the audio was awful, but he said, I love listening to him. He was great. So, yeah, I think we've gone through everybody. I don't think we've missed anybody off, have we?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't. We had, like, Joe Peterson on just for snippets from America. He was just helping us out, filling some content, really. But I think that's mentioned all the guests. So I think we'd just like to thank everybody for giving up their time for coming on. That was superb. But I think next year, buddy, we just need to do pretty much what we've done this year. Perhaps get a bit more carp on for those carpy boys out there. I don't know how we're going to do it yet, but we'll come up with something.
Yep. Yeah, we will.
Yeah, we'll get one or two well-known carp anglers on. Hopefully with a Fenland background, but if not, we'll get some more nationally acclaimed guys on and do it that way. Cool.
Yep.
Well, I suppose really we haven't got a great deal more to say.
No.
Anything else that you'd like to add?
Not really. Just the feedback and that we've had over this series has been brilliant, and just overwhelming really with the support and that through the shop that I've had, especially people that listen to the podcast and that. So yeah, that's about it really, Andy.
Well, it has, hasn't it? I'll just remind you, I'm going to read out one message I received it last week, and I think this just about sums it up and makes it very worthwhile. This guy texts me. His name's David. He'll know who he is. And I'll just read it as he put it. He says, "Hi, Andy. Your absolutely brilliant podcasts are helping to keep my spirits up during these difficult times. I'm a keen pike angler and have literally listened to all the pike ones dozens of times. So interesting." And then he goes on about some of the information we spoke about on one of the episodes. But when we get messages like that, I kind of think, wow, someone's taken the time to send us a message for one. And two, people obviously genuinely liking what we've done. So I think from a personal perspective, I'm sure, Alex, you're exactly the same. It's
definitely.
Just made the whole thing really, really worthwhile. And angling as a whole is a great pastime to get into. And we both love it. And you've got a career in it. And I'd like to have a career in it. And, well, it's just, it's one of those things that it's... In the old days, you could never have had a career in angling, but now you can, and you can do all sorts of things. And it is a great sport to be involved with, and you meet so many brilliant people within it as well. And I think that's the thing that we tend to forget sometimes. You meet all these characters, you make lifelong friends, and it is really, really a great environment to get into. And you can spend a whole lifetime doing it, and still know nothing at the end more than you did at the beginning, but maybe that's part of it. Right, so I'm going to leave you a couple of questions, Alex, before we sign off for this season. First one is, what's your prediction for us being allowed out again to go fishing then?
I'm going to go first week in June.
First week in June.
Yeah. What do you reckon?
I have no idea, but I'm going to say I think I will first be fishing in September.
You reckon?
Yeah, I don't know. It's so unpredictable, and I have no idea of how a government would deal with such a crisis as this. To me, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So what are we in April now? May, June, July, August. That's 5 months.
Middle of April, aren't we, tomorrow? 15th tomorrow.
I don't
Come
know.
on. Come
No,
on.
it's got to be
You
before
can't
then.
ask a question and not have a
No,
date.
okay, you're going for what, first week in June?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I'm going to go for. I'm going to go for like probably middle of July.
Middle of July.
Yeah.
Cool. Hope not.
Yeah, I hope.
I won't have no stock left.
Mate, I was meant to be going to France end of May. I think that's not going to happen. We haven't even, we've got the channel booked, and I'm thinking we haven't even phoned the owner yet because there's no point thinking
No.
about it. But I can't see us being able to go abroad that soon. I mean, meant to be going musky fishing into the States end of August, and again, I was looking at flights today, thinking there's no point. Just don't know.
No.
No. Okay, so that's that question. Second question for September is. Oh, let's think of a good one. How will our lives, will this pandemic affect our lives? And if so, how?
I think it will. I think things will have to change. I don't know. Maybe the way matches are run, especially for the next, well, for the few months after, whenever we're allowed out, I think maybe possibly people will pay on beforehand over, so there's no cash being moved about or handled. So possibly a PayPal where everyone pays in and then it gets paid out. I think that might change. I don't know. I'd like to think that after it, maybe as a nation, we'd look after your local butcher, your local news agents, and that sort of thing. And hopefully, I think that might change. But on the other hand, with the way it is, everyone's ordering online, and that's only going to get more and more popular, isn't it? So
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, as you were talking, I've just realised I've asked myself a really massive question.
yeah,
Because
it's
oh,
I don't know.
I was as you were
That's a hard one.
answering that, I was thinking because you were talking from your perspective and fisheries and match angling, and I
Yeah,
was thinking, that's a good answer, Alex. And I was thinking, wow,
yeah.
I'm just wondering.
Lots of things could change.
Well, I was just going back to your carp analogy with the carp problems that you have for fisheries and trying to get the herd immunity. I'm just wondering if countries might get to a point and just think, well, the economy is going to collapse soon unless we open things right up, and just go for it and
Yeah,
see what happens.
yeah. I
Could
think there'll be a little bit of that without being ruthless or harsh or anything, but I think to a certain extent there's a bit of that gone on already. But I don't know. I really don't know. There's so many theories people have got, and why these nations have only had this amount of people die, and why is it only affecting men more? Well, affecting men more than women, and I don't know. We've got a lot to find out. We're right in the early stages, aren't we, of it? And in 10 years' time, we might be told, well, that shouldn't have happened, and they should have done this and should have done that, and if they'd just done this, that would have happened. And it's learning, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a strange one. Like I said, this would be quite interesting. It's like a little time capsule experiment, because come September, maybe we might we'll know a bit more, but we'll look back and go, that was a good question. We may not be any different place. I don't know. However, didn't want to end this on a kind of a negative note, but I think from my own personal perspective, I thought that'd be quite interesting. When we start back up in September, we can look back and hopefully things are back to normal. We won't know until we actually get there. So
No,
let's just see. Yeah. Right. Well, Alex, this is going to sound patronising. I don't mean it to be that way whatsoever. But the last few weeks, you've been absolutely brilliant. You've planned a route for your tackle shop and your business. you've just basically isolated yourself and you've kept things ticking over brilliantly with the online orders. And it sounds like when you come out of this, you'll be in a very strong position. So I think, it's hats off to you. You've actually worked probably double the hours you would have done normally.
Yeah, definitely worked. Well, I mean, this time of year, instead of spending hours in the bait shed sorting out casters and make sure this is right and bagging up worms and pellets and stuff like that, it's just spending it on a computer now instead. But it's you got to do what you got to do.
Well, exactly right. Yeah, and I'm at the other extreme end. I've been sat on my backside, twiddling my thumbs, doing jobs that I never thought I would do. Like the other day, I cleaned all the cars and then I actually washed the tarmac on the car park. I know, it's crazy. Just getting
It's only week 3, Andy. Don't worry.
Yeah, but it's crazy. I feel a bit of spare part, and I do feel that we've got so many.
I'll tell you what that sums this whole thing up. About 2 years ago, a manufacturer brought out a method feeder cleaning brush, which basically was a toothbrush, right? And I thought they've got to be having a laugh. Anyway, I ordered them just to see if anyone would buy them. This is a bit of a joke. Anyway, someone did buy them and asked for them, and I thought, right, okay. And I actually sold one on eBay over this weekend. So people are that bored, they're even buying method cleaning toothbrushes to clean their method feeders.
Well, so there's one match angler out there that doesn't use his own toothbrush to do it. That's what you're saying.
Oh dear, what has this world come to?
Yeah,
He'll probably use it to clean his boxes. Oh.
Yeah, it's getting that way. I'm sitting in my man cave now thinking, I could polish that, I suppose, and I don't know. But let's hope everyone's safe and well. Everyone gets through this.
That's the key thing, yeah.
Yeah, and in September when we broadcast again, we're hopefully saying hello to everybody. And, we've...
Yeah, one sort of sad thing, but on a positive thing, I don't know if you remember Mick Asker, Andy?
Do you know what? As I was talking, didn't think it was appropriate to mention it, but maybe it is. So go on, you carry on.
Yeah. So obviously grew up fishing with Mick Asker, the old used to run Emneth Angling Centre, bit of a Fenland character. We know him as Mick the Whip. He's been battling cancer for quite a while now, and sadly he passed away over the weekend. And bit of a sad, well, very sad, but he's one of them guys. He's just had so many stories and just a smashing bloke, really. So best wishes to Kim and the rest of the family, really. I suppose you remember him, don't you, Andy?
Yeah,
you do.
I mean, I saw... this is going to sound... I saw the post on Facebook. I mean, Facebook is obviously the be-all and end-all.
Yeah.
Not really, but you know what I'm saying. And yeah, I think I put a comment on there because I just remember fishing when I was a teenager. I remember Mick and his hair, and he's just, and his big grin. He always had a massive grin, and he didn't care if he was the best or the worst angler. He would just be so enthusiastic, and he'd always be laughing and joking. And you could always hear him when he was fishing because he was just chuntering away, having a lovely conversation with people. And I also remember going in that tackle shop in Emneth as well. Did he part own it? I can't remember now.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Or he definitely owned it. I think he definitely owned it.
And I remember going in there and he'd set up in there. And yeah, he's such a lovely man. And I read that post and I thought, And so my thoughts, my condolences with his close friends and family. But these things happen, and all we can do is remember, these people when they've gone, and the fond memories that we have of them. And you're right, he definitely is a very, very well loved local character, and will be sorely missed. And let's hope when we come back in September, buddy, that everyone else is still about and we can say hello, because that's really important. Yeah. Right, is there anything else you would like to add before we sign off?
No, mate, no. About it, really. Enjoyed doing this series anyway for a first attempt. We've learnt on the job, as they say, and hopefully series 2 will be good.
Well, Apple haven't got in touch with me yet about sponsorship, which I'm a bit
Oh,
disappointed
right.
about. So I'm waiting for Apple to get in touch, or I don't know. I keep hoping Ferrari might get in touch as well.
Yeah.
No, so maybe Tackle and Bates could sponsor us
Yeah.
after all the online orders that you've had.
Oh, yeah.
You must be a
Yeah.
millionaire.
Oh, double
Double.
million. Yeah.
Oh, no, Alex, I've really enjoyed doing this with you. It's been an absolute pleasure. The Monday nights, and we used to do it in my kitchen before
Yeah.
we got hit down with the pandemic. It was brilliant, and it's just a nice 2 or 3 hours. We just used to chunker away, and it was really cool. And we'll get back to that again in September.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we've promoted the local fishing a bit, and hopefully,
Yeah, that is the element at the end of the day, wasn't it? To promote how good the venues are and give everyone a bit of information, and yeah, all good really.
yeah, a bit of information given. Hopefully, we've promoted unashamedly your tackle shop as well, because that's part of it. And all the guests that have been out there, thank you so much for giving up your time and coming on the podcast. Everybody who subscribes and listens, I said it before, but when I see all the stats, it amazes me, and all the nice messages, and that's been absolutely brilliant. So that's been for me one of the biggest parts of doing this. But Alex, it's been a pleasure doing it with you, because I taught you all those years ago, and we've always kept in touch. And this has just been for me brilliant, because in life you meet people and you become friends with them, and you just cement it as you go through life. And it's been an absolute pleasure doing the podcast with you.
And you, mate, and you. I mean, when you come up with the idea and that, I was a bit, but yeah, glad we did it. So yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to September and hoping we can do it bigger and better, and we can all get out there, go fishing, and be safe with our loved ones. Right,
Definitely.
buddy, I'm going to wrap this up and say this has been Tales from the Tackle Shop, a Bedland Fishing TV production.